He has vision. He knows that shot will be there, or he can dribble downhill if he really wants to as well, because Wiseman is also setting the screen on his man. But he sees Joe Harris on the flare screen from Dinwiddie. He doesn't even hesitate. On time, on target, perfect pass for an easy layup. They know if they cut hard to the basket, Durant will find and make the right play for you to score.
Vince Carter breaking down tape of Kevin Durant. You kind of can't make that up. The new episode of Detail featuring KD exclusively on ESPN+. Welcome back to The Jump. Here with Vince. Why did you decide you wanted KD to be the star of this operation for you?
Well, first of all, it was an honor to do Details. We already know, the late, great Kobe Bryant did a great job with that. And to get the call and I was asked if I would be willing to do it, it was a no-brainer, first of all. And then they asked, hey, here's some options. And I was like, KD. And so I wanted to pick KD and to remind people how good KD is and his abilities in different areas of the floor, not only just his 1-2 dribble pull-up or hang dribbles or everything. I mean, I want you to see his footwork and everything that he has to offer. And I know everybody was watching. It's like, we're talking about a lot of other players around the league who are supposed to be the best players in the league. And I wanted people to remember that KD is also one of those guys.
I've said it on this show over and over in the last month. Don't sleep on Kevin Durant, people. He's Kevin Durant. Speaking of which, by the way, Steve Nash, his new coach, taking a very specific approach to handling Durant and his co-star Kyrie Irving's minutes this year. In the 3 games where they both were active, they played together for almost all of their 95 minutes. In fact, in those minutes together, they outscored opponents by 64 points. But when both have been on the bench, the Nets are a minus 23. So, Zach, a lot of teams try to stagger their stars. Do you think Nash taking this approach of playing them together could work long term?
I really like it. Again, you just nailed it. Staggering has been the sexy thing. You got to stagger them. Right. I think the Nets have taken a really long view to this whole season. How do we want to play when the games really matter in the playoffs? And the answer to that is we want those two guys together on the floor. And one of the great things about Kevin Durant, he is the most malleable superstar maybe in NBA history. He can play with other superstars. He can play on the ball, off the ball, post up, ISO, pick and roll, either ball handler or screener. He can do everything. He's so easy to play with. I like that they've leaned into this and said, you know what, with Karis LeVert, we can have a full-on sixth man, a full-on bench mob. Now the question is, does Spencer Dinwiddie's injury, which is such a bummer, make it harder for them to go this route hardcore long-term? Because he could be another ball handler that if Karis LeVert gets a little overwhelmed or they just need him a little more juice with the bench, Spencer plays those minutes, now he's gone. But I bet they try and keep this setup. And I like it. They're not caving into the popular thing to do. They're thinking bigger, and I think it's a good move.
Well, I want to add to that. Typically when you see stagger, you're staggering it for a reason. And the reason I think teams tend to stagger, let's use Houston and James Harden and Westbrook, 2 ball-dominant guys, 2 point guards, if you would, who like to have the ball in their hands. So one of those guys has to sacrifice that situation. So you stagger them and let one of those 2 guys be the ball-dominant guy with the second unit. With this group, just like you said, Zach, Durant can play off the ball. He's a guy that doesn't need the ball in his hands from the start of the clock to the end of the clock. He can get down, post up, mid-post. You can put him anywhere you want on the court, and he can play. Also, Kyrie can also play without the ball as well. Just like I highlighted in my detail segment, sometimes when you have Kevin Durant starting the offense, playing through a big, and it's a pin down with Kyrie and Durant, that's tough, and you have decisions to make. So I think trial and error, why not? It's working so far, go for it. And then when you need to stagger or make adjustments, you do so. But right now, like you said, Zach, you're going for broke. They're plus 60 on teams. You want to just beat teams with your best player as much as possible so you can try to get them longer minutes of rest when you can, knowing that they can make up ground because of their ability to score.
Look, when you have guys who take away and diminish from each other because they both can't have the ball in their hands for enough time, you do need to stagger, right? You don't want your 2 stars to minimize each other. But when the fit is as good as Kyrie and KD, they don't minimize each other, they maximize each other, right? They exponentially improve what the other one can do. That's so valuable. But, Zach, you make such a good point with Spencer Dinwiddie. Do you expect the Nets to make a roster move now?
At some point, they probably will. The more interesting question to me is, how do they change their starting lineup? Do they promote Karis LeVert into the starting five and go all in around those three ball handlers? Do they try and keep him as their Manu Ginobili super six man and promote Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot, Taurean Prince, somebody like that? My guess would be is they want to keep Karis on the bench. They like the vibe going there. But to me, the interesting question is how does it rejigger their rotation a little bit? We'll see in the next couple of days.
Yeah, and certainly that'll help them try out their options.
I agree. Mm-hmm. I hope, I know Steve, former teammate of mine, good friend. I hope he leaves LeVert on the bench and have him. You feature him that way. Yeah, I think he's going to become their third scorer. So let him have his time with this. With this style and the way you're playing, let him have his time with the second unit as the feature guy. And of course, sometimes you can play him with play the three of them together. But I think keep it this way. Go get somebody who can get you a bucket, who are ball handler, like a Jamal Crawford or someone who can score and get buckets with as well, and can be a ball handler.
Well, look, we certainly wish Spencer the best as he undergoes that surgery and recovery. Tough way to start a season. I know Hill will come through great, though. All right, let's switch gears and switch coasts. The Warriors offense had its ups and downs offensively to start the season. Held under 100 by the Nets and Bucks, but they broke out against the Bulls on Sunday. Unfortunately for Golden State, one of the new Warriors, Kelly Oubre, he's just been cold, guys. He's been cold. He's missing all 17 of his three-pointers that he's took so far, not yet made a single shot outside the paint. Now, he clearly will not shoot that bad all season. He is Tsunami Poppy, and Draymond Green supposed to return this week. That will help as well. But Vince, with no Clay, a rookie center, two new wings in Oubre and Wiggins, how should the Warriors adjust their offense? This is not the Hamptons 5 days.
Well, Coach Kerr, to me, who's a champion and knows how to coach and manage players, I foresee him doing something like this. You put those two guys in situations where they're going downhill early, getting fouled, getting to the free throw line, seeing the ball go in, layups, backdoors, lobs, things like that, athletic plays. Those are two athletic players. Put them in that situation first. I think when players go to Golden State because of what they're known for is shooting the three, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and a history of guys that's gone there, you feel like you, the player, has to shoot the three instead of be yourself and work your way into being the three-point threat like they are. And I think those guys like Wiggins, he can shoot the three, but he can get downhill and he's a mid-range player. Oubre, super athletic. Let those guys, encourage those guys to be those guys first and then work your way into the three-point shot, especially right now when you're not playing well.
I guess this is the price of dynastic success because the Warriors go on a 2-game losing streak and the Twitter coach brigade comes out telling Steve Kerr what he's supposed to do, scrap your offense, do this, do that. Like, can we just chill out a little bit? Draymond Green has not played 1 second yet. They're starting a rookie at center who basically didn't even play in college. Like, let's just dial it back for a minute. They should play fast, and they've committed to playing fast. They have a lot of long, athletic dudes. They're number one in the league in pace. And yes, they should probably reorient their beautiful game offense, redirect it a little bit toward more Steph pick and rolls. But Steph is never going to be James Harden. He's never going to be Damian Lillard. He's just not built to play 80 pick and rolls per game. I think you can definitely veer the offense more in that direction or blend their sort of ball movement, motion, screening, all that, which doesn't work as well without great shooters and great passes all over the place. Sort of blend it with more Steph pick and rolls. You know what that's going to take? Time. That's not easy to do in a second with a bunch of brand new guys who can't make an outside shot. And by the way, you want Steph to run a bunch of spread pick and rolls. This team has no spread. They don't have enough shooting. People are going to clog the lane on James Wiseman rolling to the rim. It's not that easy. Just give these guys a little time to get their players back and develop a system.
Zach, you say that as if the internet didn't have plenty of comment during the Warriors run. Of course they did. This team always and still under the microscope. All right, guys, coming up, we only have a week of games so far, but several players putting up performances worth noting. Jump ball early season.